That's the message of Christmas. There is always hope.
Welcome to 1850 Main Street, a place where friends get together and talk about their country and hope for a brighter future. Today, Rob Walgate and Alan C. Duncan from the Public Square are joined by David Zanotti, the CEO of the American Policy Roundtable.
So it's a gift and a responsibility. It's right before Christmas, and rather than to be patronizing or an advertiser or anything else, I would like to ask people that pay attention to these conversations for a little help.
All right.
I'll tell you right up front what we're asking for. People would say, oh, here comes a year-end pitch. You guys are a nonprofit. Give us money. There's nothing wrong with asking for that, by the way. We're funded and supported wholly through donations, and we appreciate them. We don't spend a lot of time talking about it. We don't spend a lot of time asking. But the purpose of this ask isn't necessarily that. You can always do that, and we're grateful. This ask is to have the courage to give someone the gift of the link to a broadcast. And to me, that seems simple, but I'm used to this now. What is online right now called Christmas in America could be a gift that changes somebody's life, that lightens their load, that helps their grief, or gives them hope, or gives them a thought for a better future. This program is remarkable. So, executive producer, let me ask you, Alan, how do you describe Christmas in America? Let's talk about this year's show, 1973.
It's a classic art form of a radio variety program. You know, this is something that people were familiar with in the past. You know, you had some speaking parts, some talking, and then you've also got music interspersed
all the way back
throughout.
To the 20s, really, when
Sure.
you think about it. Yeah.
It is a classic art form that not a lot of people still continue to practice. But we're keeping that alive. And so people really, I got the chance to be in the room for both of these live performances, and people love these broadcasts. They loved the show. You could just hear the audience reaction. We just produced with a great team. We're finally getting it out onto the air on more stations, thanks be to God, than we've ever had before. And you can hear the audience loving the show. A lot of it, they like the music. It's 1973. We pick a year in history and go back in time and see what's God doing in that year. 1973 was a tough year for a lot of folks, but God was still working in that year. And we said it many times on the show, the music was one of the things that people were finding a lot of solace in during a tough time. And so you could hear that in the room. You would just start to play the first few notes of a song and people go, oh, you know, we really hit him in the nostalgia button a lot on some of this.
We did. When you think about the audience and the age demographic that was in the room for those two shows, there were a lot of smiles and I think a lot of reminiscing. And while 1973 was a tough time when you look back on it historically, those folks didn't remember that tough time. They reflected on what was happening in their life, and that music brought back
having come
happy
through
memories.
that time.
Well,
yeah.
you think about it, and all the things that we go through as a society or as individuals. For the most part, we think, you know, oh man, this is tough, and then a couple of years pass, and you look back and go, oh man, it kind of puts it all into perspective.
God was there.
He was
He got
there,
us
and
through this.
he walked through. But the thing about, you know, you ask Alan how to describe Christmas in America, and you know, when we invite people that have never been, it's always interesting to try and tell them what it is. And I had a friend that came with his family first time this year, and he was like, that was amazing. He's like, you tried to tell me what it was, and I didn't get it. Like I couldn't envision what it really was. He was like, and I hope we're invited back next. I was like, yes. He's like, because we just enjoyed it so much. My kids are still talking about it. They liked it. They liked the story. So it's once you get in the room or once you listen to it online or on the radio and share it with others, you kind of get hooked on it.
Is it wrong to be a borrower in the art forms?
No, not at all. It wasn't a Picasso that said all great artists steal? I don't know if that's an apocryphal quote or not. Someone check it out for us. Let me know.
I know a lot of writers in Nashville acknowledge that to be the case. Sorry.
Well, I mean, you listen
it's
to
borrow. It's borrow.
Even it's interpolating. You know, even the great classical music, you can hear old folk tunes woven in many places. So
the borrow here is from a lot of places. And I regret the fact that Prairie Home Companion has come and gone. And it's a natural order of things. And it really did reach some artistic heights.
Oh, sure.
And spoke to lots and lots of people. But I think it's because Prairie Home Companion was tapped into the same stream. If you talk about a classic media piece of art or a form of art. And so the live radio variety interactive show, and what's intriguing about this is that we really encourage people to come now. We encourage people to come knowing that the houses are going to be sold out in advance and not everybody's going to be able to get in the room.
I start to get very nervous for people, and I know it's like a week away.
Yeah.
And people are like, can we still get tickets?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, we were more than
quick.
out of chairs. We were in every case. And of course, that puts pressure on. We got to do more. I get all that. But the show actually exists to be a radio product.
Right.
What's kind of surprising to everybody is it's such a unique, actual physical time and space experience. Then it comes out on the air and it takes on a whole nother life. And so my ask for help today from people watching this broadcast is, first off, listen, thepublicsquare.com.
Thanks for stopping by at 1850 Main Street. We're glad you're here. Do you want to learn more about what's really going on behind the scenes in public policy? Tune in to the Public Square on over 200 radio stations coast to coast, or download the free Public Square mobile app from your app store. Just look for the lamppost. Find out what America's talking about at thepublicsquare.com.
Now, 1850 Main Street is a division of the media outreach of the Public Square, as is Kids on the Square and other media products that we create. We're under the same nonprofit umbrella with the same mission, just different applications of the gifts and the talents and the resources we've been given. Well, I don't know anything that can be more helpful to people who are in need of reconciliation in relationships, who are in need of encouragement because of health issues, or who are struggling economically, or who just are depressed or have lost any sense of joy in the holiday season, than to take time and go into a time and space where you can hear things and hear music and think bigger thoughts about the fact that all of this adds up to something, and at the end, there's always hope. That's the message of Christmas. There is always hope. Why? Not because we want it to be, but because God chose not to leave us alone.
Yeah.
He chose not to leave us alone.
Well, and you think about when Christ was coming into the world, there hadn't been any scripture written for the Jewish people. There's a lot of writing. They call it the intertestamental period.
Long period of silence.
Silence. Now there was writing happening, you know, but
And preaching and ministry, but
certainly. But there was the sense in which God hadn't spoken through a prophet in the same way that He had hundreds of years prior, and so Christ coming reignites God speaking again in a very intimate way with His creation.
in a loud voice.
And so he's coming in the darkest of night.
Yeah.
And you know, I quote Chesterton all the time. Chesterton talks about hope. Hope is only hope when it's hopeless. Otherwise, it's not a virtue at all. The point of hope is that things look really dark, but you still have hope even in it. It's not hope if things look all right.
And this is not, and one of the great things about Christmas in America is it brings that entire concept, even the concept of the incarnation, God coming to earth, and puts it right on solid ground. Because we go back, and we've scanned from the 1700s to the 21st century in regards to looking at different years over the 14 episodes.
And I want us to go back even further. Yes.
4 BC is your target date.
Yeah, and if anyone wants to visit those episodes, thepublicsquare.com/CIA, you can get the whole inventory of Christmas in America programs through
So is that a
the
homework
years.
assignment, or is that actually a goft? And this is, well, I only have so much capacity.
Well, I know people.
You actually like listening to these things?
At our house, November, roughly a little before Thanksgiving, my wife and daughter are going to turn on one of the mini speakers, and they're going to start blaring Christmas music. So, I know over the next week, as we walk into the new year, that they're going to have that speaker on, and there's going to be Christmas in America is playing, there's going to be Christmas music playing, and they're going to be making cookies and doing others, even taking down the Christmas tree as we go into the new year, and they're still going to be listening to CIA episodes or Christmas music for sure. So yes, people enjoy it, and they enjoy the storytelling of it, because we all, we're creatures that want to learn through history as well.
Yeah, that's the thing. If somebody thinks, oh man, I'm so sick of Christmas, some people are like, oh, I'm sick of Christmas music at this time. Bah humbug. I'm not one of these people, but they exist. Well, then you can hear the history parts of the show. You'll really love to dive in and look at what was life like in 1973. You'll actually learn something. But then if you are somebody who wants to still hear music that's not even Christmas music, you can hear the music from the era, 1970. So there's point is, there's something for everybody in the show, which I appreciate.
I know we don't do it because of, the talent that's on stage is amazing. The musical talent is just second to none. But it's always interesting to me when someone in the audience or someone listens, will come up and be like, did you know so-and-so played with, you know what I mean? They're like, I didn't know that was them up there. And I'm like, that's them. That's them. So we're very fortunate to have the team we have.
For example, this year, Christmas in America, one of the female vocalists is someone that has appeared on countless videos coming from the Bill Gaither genre of music, because she sang with them in lead positions for over 20 years. And someone would go, and we pulled a trick on him, because she sang a song that she had actually sung lead on in one of the Christmas editions, and so then that double confused them. So there's all kinds of little, you can't call them Easter eggs, right? Because it's a Christmas presentation.
Well, they're Easter and Christmas.
All right, they're all in
they
there.
go together.
All right,
the 4th of July.
And we'll get to that. The purpose of the plea is, it just seems to me logical. You go to thepublicsquare.com, click, Christmas in America, okay? There it is. You hit it, you copy the link. This is the old school way. You copy the link, and you come over to an email to Bill or to Susie, and you know that they've been struggling with X, Y, and Z, and you say, hey, I just listened to this. It's a gift. Take a minute. I think you'll be glad you did. Merry Christmas.
Yeah, it's not
that simple.
Yes, it's not some hyper political program that's going to start a fight at the holiday season. It
so transcends all of that.
Yes, by design, which I think is nice.
So it's a way to actually give a gift, and you say, well, that's good because it didn't cost me anything. No, you're right. It costs a lot to do, and it was designed by the people who wanted to underwrite it so that people could use it as a tool to spread love and hope and joy in the Christmas season, and so that as a culture, we would not forget why we celebrate. So there's no guilt that's involved. It's an honest, simple plea. If you're looking for a last-minute Christmas gift, this is it. Send them this. Now you say, well, man, look, I don't know, if you send it to 100 people and 10 open, and one has a tear and a moment and is helped, isn't that worth it? So everything that we do here, everything in this network is designed for one person to help somebody else. So it's it. There's only a few days left to do it. A few days left before the Christmas season, and even in the Walgate house comes to an end.
Yeah.
and we'll put links to these programs in the show notes on many of these platforms, depending on where you're listening. So look for those there.
The conversations are just getting started. To get connected, check out 1850mainstreet.com. We don't data mine anyone or sell your information. Subscribe today so you don't miss a single conversation. We'll see you next time here at 1850 Main Street.